bed at night. Pray when I wake up in the morning. I pray when I wake up in the middle of the night having nightmares, you know. Find myself in constant prayer.
That was 30 years ago. Since then, the family of Morgan Violi has lived with a question they couldn't answer. What happened to their little girl? Today, an answer. Investigators announcing a major breakthrough, piecing together what happened the day she went missing from her Bowling Green home back in 1996. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rory Johnston. Federal charges now filed against this man, 61-year-old Robert Froberg, who authorities say abducted and murdered the 7-year-old. They also revealed Froberg escaped from prison a number of times in the late 90s. Our Nikki Hauser tonight shares the timeline of this decades-long journey and how new DNA technology finally brought justice.
Today, we announce a significant development in a case that has haunted my hometown of Bowling Green, Kentucky for 30 years.
It's been decades since 7-year-old Morgan Jade Violi lost her life, and decades since her family has had clarity or closure.
Not knowing where she's at, not knowing if she's okay, and not being able to see her or hear her.
I'm so scared and I'm never going to find out what happened to her.
Finally, we know. Robert Froberg confessed to taking Morgan in July 1996 outside the apartment complex her family lived in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
It's a relief. It's heartbreaking.
An affidavit released this week breaks down Froberg's timeline and the steps leading up to his confession. In 1988, Froberg was arrested for robbery in Alabama and sentenced to prison for 40 years. In April 1996, he escaped from prison and fled to Pennsylvania. 1 month later, he was caught trying to lure a child into a treehouse and returned to jail, only to escape again. 8 days after his escape on July 24th of 1996, Froberg kidnapped Morgan Violi, who was outside playing with a friend in Bowling Green.
There was so much fear, at that point.
He drove off in a stolen van and later returned to Pennsylvania, where he was arrested for escaping prison. That October, Morgan's body was found in the woods in White House, Tennessee.
3 red roses and a wreath that says, "Our prayers are with you." They mark the spot where authorities found what they believe to be the remains of Morgan Violi.
In 1997, an FBI lab confirmed a fiber which was in Morgan's hair was the same as the fiber of the seat cushion in the stolen van. Decades later, the DNA on the hair in the van was searched through a new DNA database and was associated with Froberg.
The progress in DNA forensic testing, the progress that the FBI lab has made allowed us to get to this point today.
In 2026, the FBI questioned him, and he admitted to his prior crimes, including the kidnapping. He says he strangled Morgan to death and left her at a barn in White House.
Today is not about Froberg. Today is about Morgan Violi. Today is about a 7-year-old daughter and a sister that remained in our hearts for nearly 30 years.
The community has waited a long, long time for this, although this moment was ultimately for Morgan's family.
To the Violi family, we wish this tragedy had never occurred and that Morgan was still with us today. While nothing can undo the pain that you have endured, we hope this development brings a measure of closure.
Nikki, we hope it brings some closure as well. And so many longtime viewers followed this case as we've reported on it, like we mentioned, for decades.
Exactly. This is a moment not only that family has been waiting on, but a lot of you have been waiting on, as well as the people who were involved in investigating this case.
Working this case, they've invested so much. And DNA technology's come a long way.
Exactly. I was going to say, it's just such an important part of this case that actually led to where we are today.
A breakthrough. Thanks, Nikki.